Um, I am not going to run for re-election in 2020. Representing the folks in District 11 has been an honor and a privilege that I cannot adequately describe. Suzanne and I have had the privilege of working with the finest group of public servants ever assembled, and I'm proud to have worked with them. They've served you and us in an unselfish and exemplary manner. But while serving in Congress, I've asked Suzanne and our family to make innumerable sacrifices, and they've done that willingly. But there's a time when those necessary sacrifices, I simply can't continue to ask them to do that. And so I'm going to put Suzanne and our children and our grandchildren first. This chapter in our lives has been more fulfilling than I could have ever imagined. But all things come to an end, and my 8th term in Congress will be my end point. I will, though, fulfill my duties to the District 11, finishing this term. I'm proud of my career in public service, and as a CPA, you might expect me to use numbers, but counting my time in the service and my completion of 8 terms in the House, I will spend 34% of my adult life in public service. And I couldn't have spent it better. I want to thank each and every person who's had an impact on getting me to where I'm at today. Voters, of course, staff, many of whom are here today, volunteers, donors, friends, family, and even those critics out there that helped me do my job better when they thought that I was doing it incorrectly. But as I mentioned, this will be my last term, and I could not have enjoyed it. I'm honored and privileged to have served. It's a worthy institution, and I'm proud that my name is among those who serve. So, be happy to take any questions that anybody has, but that's the statement I wanted to make. Thank y'all. Thank everybody for being here. We asked the press to come. I'm looking around and seeing friends that have been at this for a long, long time with me. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon. I've got some of my DC staff is here, as well as the district staff. We had a retreat yesterday in which I was able to get all of them together at one time and tell everybody at the same time that my life is going to be different. Theirs will be as well. But they'll continue to serve, as will I, through the rest of this term. So, again, thanks everyone for coming out, and I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're about 6 months into your term. Why did you decide to, I mean, it's pretty early, isn't it? Why you decided to announce retirement now?
Texas has an early primary. We have a March primary, okay. And I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of time for any and everybody who wanted to raise their hand and try to compete for this job. I expect a spirited primary process, but this was the best time to get my staff together and tell it. But for the early March primary, in order to give folks the adequate time, those who may not be as well known as others, to have a chance to tour all 29 counties and have the blessing of getting to talk and meet people across this entire district. It takes time.
Did the Republicans losing the majority, or maybe kind of a tense climate in the House, have anything to do with your decision to retire?
No, we have. I'm finishing my 3rd term as leadership of the Ag Committee. We have a 3-term limit, and the next committee that I can compete for would be the Armed Services Committee. There are 2 guys that are ahead of me seniority-wise. They've both been chairing subcommittees on armed services that I spent all of my time on Ag, and if I got it, it would be a 6-year commitment to fulfill that. So this is a perfect time as I transition. One of the things I've told folks all along is that when I'm no longer in a leadership position, I'm coming home. And that'll occur at the end of this term, and so it's a great transition point for me to be able to come home.
Is there anything else you want to accomplish in your time before you retire?
World peace, cure cancer. It's being in the minority is a frustrating experience. As anybody who's worth their salt would confess, that the partisanship has become too intense. It's gotten to be where it's a lot more important about the jersey than the issue that we've got at hand. But we've got some daunting tasks ahead of us. Debt, immigration, Social Security, Medicare reform, all those kind of good things. I hope to be a part of that. Get elected for 2 years. I'm going to serve all 2 years and do what I can. But being in the minority, you don't really have a chance to move the agenda. But we hope to try to continue to be a part of that leadership and add my voice to those that are looking for the right kind of solutions that benefit our nation and in this world.
When did you make this decision?
Last year. I've been sitting on it for a long, long time. Suzanne, I've had these conversations a long time. One of the advantages of having been able to do it that long, I've been able to second guess myself, decide again, undecided, all the things that you go through when you're making a big decision. And this was a big decision for me. And so I'm comfortable with it because I've had plenty of time to live with it.
Do you have any words for whoever takes over your seat?
Just respect the process, respect the House. It is almost physically painful to hear people talk so negatively about the House of Representatives. You know, the approval ratings in the tank, all those kind of good things. This institution is enshrined in our Constitution. There's no more worthy public service spot than serving at the people's house. You cannot get there except by the people putting you there. Anybody could become president of the United States without ever running for election. But you can't get in the House. You can get in the Senate by appointment. But to get in the House, you have to stand in front of the people and ask them for their vote. And when you do that, incumbent upon you is to maintain that respect for them, that respect for the office, and do the job correctly and not do anything while you're in that office to bring ill will or disrepute to our system. And when I have colleagues who do that and have done that to help create this negative ill will, it is hurtful to me personally because I love the institution so much and it is incredibly worthy of what's going on. So whatever background, whatever tool set you bring to the task, use it to its fullest, work as hard as you can, listen to as many people as you can, including those who don't vote for you, and folks who will never vote for you, because after the election, in that 2-year time frame, you're representing them. And just do the job the way that we all expect it to be done. I hope I've been able to do that in my 16 years that I'll have done that. But it's really, don't screw it up, and don't bring disrepute and disrespect to the office, because it's too important.
For you, what was the highlight of your time in the House?
So I've got 2 sets of highlights. One is the work you get to do in D.C. Obviously, getting the Farm Bill done and done on time is a big highlight. I chaired the Russia investigation, which found no collusion, evidence of collusion. We had a few less resources than Robert Mueller had, who also found no evidence of collusion. So those legislative work is pretty obvious. The real highlight, though, is the work that my constituent service folks have done. Gloria, where's Corbett, others. Every day, someone in District 11 has a problem, has something going on with an executive branch agency that's affecting their lives. Every day, we have good people in all 6 district offices helping those folks cope with whatever's going on with their government and their lives. And the hundreds and hundreds of success stories that are shared with me about that work is probably the most gratifying because, one, I don't do it, but I get the credit. It's great to be a member of Congress. But I know that those folks' lives are better for the work that's done. I can't control things in D.C. It takes 217 friends. One of those has to be the Speaker. You've got to have 60 friends in the Senate, and then you've got to have a president sign the bill. So that's a really tall order. But back home, we can take care of business every single day. And I put together the most terrific constituent service team that's been put together. And I'm really proud of the work they do.
You're, I think, the 5th Republican congressman to announce their retirement in the past couple of weeks. Do you think that means anything for the Republican Party or its future? You have any thoughts?
You know, remember that old TV series, the Naked City? The 8 million stories in the Naked City. Tonight's one of them. There are 435 members of Congress. This is just one of them, in one story. So no, I don't believe there's that case. There may be some common threads, but each and every one of us has had a different path. We've all got different family responsibilities and expectations. And so, you know, Tom DeLay said at his farewell speech on the floor that there are 3 ways to leave Congress. You get beat, they carry out first, or you leave on your own terms. And the third one is obviously the best. And so for me, that's what I'm doing. I leave on my terms, and I really can't speak for other folks that may decide on their terms that they want to do something different.
Do you have any future plans yet? Are you going to be staying in Midland?
So the short, snippy truth, cold hard truth, is whatever Suzanne wants to do. I've asked her to do this job for 16 years. I'm way behind on my political capital in her bank, and so I got a lot of catching up to do. But looking forward to spending more time with my grandkids. You know, the traditional kind of things, but it's actually the truth. I've been at it 14 plus years now. I've not attended maybe more than 2 birthday parties for my grandchildren. There are lots of things they've done growing up that I've missed. I did it full knowledge, full awareness of it, and so I'll try to miss fewer of those things going forward.
We all know the Latino vote very important. Is there anything that you would like for our Spanish-speaking public to know? Some of the things that you were grateful for their vote, or anything that you could share with us?
Yeah, I don't look at it in those terms. Quite frankly, I appreciate each and every vote that anybody has given me over these years. You know, our office has always been respectful of language issues and that kind of stuff. Make sure we're able to take care of people that are in company office with particular issues. But I don't really. They're just folks at District 11, and I don't see colors. I don't see economic levels. They're just people that need to help, and so it would be the full spectrum of what I've done and how I've conducted myself. All I can answer that way.
Yeah, and is there something that you may have wanted to accomplish that maybe didn't get accomplished?
Yeah, the big ticket items. Everybody goes up there. We should have renegotiated Medicare. We should have dealt better with the debt. We've got an immigration problem that has gone on way too long, whether it's the situation at the border or internal enforcement or the immigration processes and all. Yeah, all those big ticket things are still there, and we're not adequately doing a job to make that to get those fixed. So, you know, anybody who doesn't get those big ones finished has something to say, gee, I wish we could have done whatever. The things that I had the most direct influence on, Farm Bill, those kind of things, I did get those done. But I would love to have been able to brag on Medicare and Medicaid. We got a big tax bill done in December 17. That's a big deal that I was able to help on. We got crude oil, the restrictions on exported crude oil lifted as a result of work that I did and some others to get that happen. That's had a dramatic impact on anybody living in West Texas, because we can produce more oil and get it out of get it sold. And anybody whose job is associated with producing oil has benefited from that. So, but the regress would be just the big ticket things.
We see everybody coming out of their offices and how important District 11 is for you. Any last words that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, well, I want to continue to do the job the next 17 months the way I've done it. I've got 7 town halls on the docket for next week. I'll continue to run through the tape to get the job done that I believe, and do it the way I believe it needs to be done, to set an example, whoever it is that takes my place, to do this job. Thank you are 2 words that we use almost indiscriminately. Thank you for picking up the pencil. Thank you for opening the door. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for whatever. So there's a really wide spectrum. We need a better phrase, one that really captures how heartfelt those 2 words can do. And yes, sir.
All right. You mentioned earlier about you now in the minority in the House, and I'm a minority in this country. I'm born and raised. My family probably been here longer than most of the president's family ever has. How in the next 17 months?
How's what?
How in the next 17 months you're going to actually represent the minorities when we have a person in the White House that denigrates minorities all the time? Now, I've never voted for you. So, I've never voted for you, but you have represented conservatives.
Yep.
Okay? As a minority, I need you to speak up against what's going on in the White House right now. We are in the United States of America. I need you to speak for the minority and say what you're doing to the minority is not for the United States. So when we speak negative against the minorities, he's speaking negative against the United States. So for me, for the next 17 months, speak up for all your citizens. When he says something negative, speak up for us, because you're just in the minority for the last 2 years. I've been there for almost 60 years. So speak up for your representatives for all of us.
Yeah, I appreciate that point of view. Appreciate that issue. I've been focused more on the what that's trying to be done out of the White House, tax reform, immigration reform, border security, all those kind of things. So the what the president's been trying to do, I agree with what he's been doing. Some of the House, some of the fights he picked, some of the other things like that. He's responsible for those. He's the president. He knows what he's doing. But also they get spun by some folks who hate his guts. The mainstream media spins everything totally to the negative, and that it may or may not be appropriate, but I appreciate it. But I'm not sure that I see my job as following the president around and trying to recant and or agree with everything he says. Clearly, what we're trying to get done and what he wants to try to get done out of the White House, absolutely we're in that midst. But I don't know that it helps the public arena for everybody to be going back and forth and say, yeah, back and forth. I'm not sure how that solves anything. He is not going to change. It's going to be exactly who he is. That's how he got to where he's at, and he would argue there's no real motivation to change. And my job is to legislate and to work within the system to try to get what done, and that's where I'll spend most of my time. Yes, sir.
I actually have a multi-part question. So first, if it's a repeat, I apologize. What would you consider probably your founding moment or your most proud moment since you served this district? Secondly, would you do anything differently looking back on your past years in office?
So the one vote that I wish I had back would be the Budget Control Act of 2011. That's the one that set up sequestration. That's the one that's caused a lot of our problems with the military and other things that have gone on. It's an interesting vote because at the time we were convinced that the fix under that was so draconian that we wouldn't let it happen. They would go find those big ticket items to help deal with the deficit. And if not, then sequestration would kick in. So we should have known that sequestration was going to kick in and we wouldn't find those other issues. So I take that vote back. It is interesting, the irony of it though, if you go back and look and see who voted for it and against it, most all the folks who voted against it in 2011 today champion it as if it's the Holy Grail. And brag about sequestration, they brag about cutting spending, all those kind of things, but they didn't vote for it. They didn't take the heat in voting for it back in 2009. So that's the one vote. Highlights, wow, one of the most meaningful spots, certainly on the Ag Committee, we have jurisdiction over feeding programs where we feed kids around the world. And so I went to Ethiopia to see that program in action. And so I was, when I was as a CPA, I'm looking at the internal controls, how they get the stuff there, how do they get all stuff. So we send in 50 kilos sacks of wheat and rice and split yellow peas and oil, all this kind of good stuff. And then we distribute it to folks in a famine. They get a certain amount of oil, a certain amount of wheat, a certain amount of rice every month, but they don't get it every month. And so I went to the final distribution point, and so the little guy comes up, the village elder says, all right, this is who it is. He puts his thumbprint by his name, and then they give this man his stuff. So he's a relatively slight, small fella, and it's a 110 pounds bag of stuff. And two big burly guys set it on his shoulder. And I can still see in my mind's eye him slump under the weight of that bag and go over to his donkey and put it on the donkey. And he comes back and he does it again. He puts his stuff on there and takes that home to his family. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is American-grown produce that's going to help his family survive just a little bit longer in a way that's so much better for them. And that's really good stuff. It's got an American flag on it. But I'm also thinking in the back of my mind is that we're borrowing part of the money to do that. And one of these days, we will have to be confronted with the difficult decision can we continue to help these folks to the detriment of future generations of Americans? And we've not come to grips with that yet. Also on that trip, we have another feeding program where we feed little kids at lunch in school. And so my team and I got there, school about 600 kids. They're in little uniforms. The only English they know is welcome, welcome. And so we're touring through there. I go into the cook shed, and it literally is a shed. Just tin walls, no door, no windows, tin roof, and this grizzly old woman there is stirring this big old huge pot of gruel or porridge or something. It's yellow. And so she stirred it with a stick you pick up off the ground. I mean, literally just pick it up. And so I asked her, I said, can I stir it? She doesn't know. No, can I stir it? She doesn't know. Well, can I serve the kids? So it's getting a little tense in there, because anyway, she dies laughing, she's yanking my chain. So I try to stir, she's got to show it the different direction. So I go into a classroom with these little girls in there, and I've got a photo of this in my office in D.C. And these bright little shiny faces, and they're chowing down on this yellow porridge, gruel, or whatever. And so I asked them through the interpreter, I said, is that lunch? Yep, that's lunch. I said, well, do you like it? Oh, yeah, it tastes good, yep. And I've got 7 grandkids, and I'm thinking, I couldn't get one of them to even test it, let alone eat it every day. And so, as a insensitive guy that I am, through the interpreter, I asked these 5 little girls, do you get tired of eating the same stuff every day? And they looked at me, they looked at the interpreter, they looked back. What I basically asked them is, do you get tired of eating every day? And so no, they don't. Those programs are America at its absolute best. The pointy end of a sword is different from the pointy end of the sword you normally think of, but those kids would otherwise be going really hungry, and we're doing that out of our compassion for the rest of the world. But again, I'm thinking the same thing I thought at the distribution point. We may not be able to afford that going forward, and we have to make some tough choices. So that was one of the impactful ones. The other time, that was a emotional event. I went to Fort Hood the day that they loaded the 13 coffins on that C-17 from the terrorist event that occurred in there on the fort where Major Shah killed those folks. And to watch the military 13 times, the exact pace, the exact same time, the exact deal, as if they were only doing it once, put those coffins in the belly of that C-17 and then draped with the American flag. And then those of us, the members there, got to walk in and stand among those coffins. They're just things that all of us have life experiences where it's just ingrained in your mind. You can think about it, you see that picture right off the bat. And so those experiences in Africa, as well as that experience in the belly of that C-17, will stay with me for a long time.
One more question, and I don't want to throw you off course or anything, but you're obviously leaving your current office. Any future aspirations for a different political office? So
that was the repeat. Whatever Suzanne decides to do, that's what we're going to do. And I'm pretty confident that that's a no.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, those of you in the media, thanks for coming. I appreciate that. There's got to be a car wreck someplace you could have covered instead of this. Those of you that are not, that are just friends and folks who are interested, thank you so very much. I look around, I see a lot of faces, Val and others I've seen for a long, long time. We're going to finish strong and look forward to a really spirited primary because I think this district deserves that. And I'm hopeful there's some good folks who will raise their hand and help the rest of us understand who should be the next congressman for District 11. Thank you all very much.